open up. It's going to take more and more brain power. You're going to look for teams that don't want to tilt. Of course, we've seen a lot of unfair, but not so much of TimmyG. So it'll be interesting to see how they play a lot across the set, man. It's going to be a good one, I think.
I hope so. We will be
Yeah.
going right into the draft. We'll see what spicy things TimmyG cooks up. Unfair on the second pick here. We are on Jag Falls, but Unfair's been picking what might be some more old-fashioned drafts, I want to say. Stuff you normally see 2018, 2019. Definitely not quite the ROMs 7 type players you normally see. You know, I will say this is the team with Leighton 25. I'm very surprised we haven't seen a Yag yet. So it will actually be Unfair on the first pick. So we will see what they're setting up for.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Vash, and I'd say if anybody's been doing their homework and watching this, we have seen that Betty just absolutely cruise through this map. And it seems to be that she's like impossible to push in these maps. So I don't know if any of the teams are gonna pick up on this. If not, it's been Betty. If not Betty, it's been Willow. And I've seen the blasters coming out a lot more on these maps and having success. So it'll be interesting to see. But we've got some bans. What do you think about these bans?
I think it makes a lot of sense. Ruckus being out of the picture, Talus looks like we got some controllers coming in. Owen, BK just kind of these characters have been just nuts on Jag Falls. Unfair, I think. Like, listen, Bones on the Grover, like Bones is Grover, like that's his guy. So honestly, it's a great pick on Jag. It's a great pick for Unfair. I think it makes a lot of sense. Still leaves a lot of things open. Maybe not quite these super flank heavy compositions that you'd see. You know, I don't think they're pulling out the Corvus Lex Sky anytime soon. But I also don't think that's really their style.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Grover, right, I still think it works. On this map, it's very much a case where you're going to have your line of sight cut, right? So even necessarily, you just having Grover, not necessarily a bigger throughput healer, it'll still work in your favor, considering the way you want to move the map is like around in a circle. So there'll always be in a range of heals. So it's almost like a passive all the time without realizing. So I think it should be good, but we've got a few more picks. TimmyG instantly have gone for Rom and Yag. I think that's really interesting. Very big aggro tanks. What do you think about that?
I think, you know, it's if that's the style you're trying to play, then go for it, bud. But it shows your hands so early. Like, you can't help but think, like, Unfair, see that go, okay, we know their draft. We basically can fill out the rest of their characters. Like, we're going to see an aggressive support. We're going to see something along the lines of Corvus or Furia, right? One of which is probably going to get banned next rotation. The Eevee, the aggressive flank. There goes the Corvus, right?
Yep.
So it's like, instantly TimmyG is just showing their hand. Unfair, like, oh, we're going to pick Grover. It's a good pick for our support. It leaves a lot of things. So TimmyG just, we're going in.
You know what? I'm a confident
man. All right, we're going to deal with that.
Yeah. I like to see teams going straight for it because it tells me they A, have a game plan, and B, they believe in themselves and they're going to execute it. And of course, with big picks like this, you don't want to leave them so late to the point where they might get banned and left out. But we're seeing, again, like I said, there's a lot of blasters here. I think these teams are very much learning. And we've seen the blue guy come out now. Grok is here, and I'm ready for it, man.
I was thinking of this. This is so good. There's no shields. It's too fat tanks to bounce. This is such a good Grok map. Like, Eevee Koga, you know, maybe not the best matchups for him. Lilith backing them. This is okay. It might well be free beefy tanks at this point. This is listen, man. This is what you're scared of. Like against the Grover, you don't normally see Lex, Drogue, Grok as your DPS into first pick rotation. Rom Yag, you do because it's really good. So I think this is weird in draft because TimmyG they show their hand, but they don't care. They don't care that they've shown their hand. Like listen, you go like Rom Lilith. Nobody sees anything. Ram is just a great character. Lilith, maybe that's just what the character that you kind of like.
I think Lilith's even up there as a very good character we're seeing a lot now. That Blood Moon ult is looking to be very strong. And teams are like, they're pressing the button a lot and it's winning them fights so much. Again, I think as I touched with Rock in a set before, it's just that true lifesteal makes things so much easier. Yep. Very interesting though on Unfair side. We're seeing in picks 4 and 5, usually 2 picks that you'd see in pick 5 picked together. It'd be interesting for me in the Drogos. It's a very good pick here, I think, where you might struggle as a tank. You'll have Rom and Yag, who are not the best at dealing with characters flying above them. Drogos definitely does that, but TimmyG, who do have that Eevee and the Koga to get onto them, so it'll be interesting to watch. And I am getting word now that we're going to go straight into the game, so this will be an interesting one to cook. How are you feeling about this one, Fish?
I think it's good. I'm just a little curious, like this Drogue pick, because I think this is our first Drogue of the tournament, at least on the stream that I've seen. Like, I mean, we've played like almost 200 games of Paladins. We've probably been picked at some point. You think it's combustible? Fusillade? Worm? He's hovering Fusillade. Bones on the... Wait a minute,
Fusillade.
Bones on the Drogue and Leighton on the Grover.
I'd expect that. We've seen Leighton a lot on the tanks, mainly the Ash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect to see him really on the Drogos here. I think Bones being, I guess, the captain, I guess the key player of their team, I very much expect to see him there. But yeah, Fusillade doesn't surprise me. You're just going to get a lot of damage on those static targets of Yag and Rom. If you do hit Eevee twice, you know, she's instantly got to blink back, so she's got to worry. So yeah, straight into this.
63. That's pretty close. Yep. Fair moving to the point right away. Now I'm running through. Ghost Walk, of course, early. Just a little bit of poke there, absorbing the dive, and Vokal's chilling on the objective, but Avalea goes down to Ghost Walk, of course. Really coming through to punish them. Bones looking for the support, kind of caught out by herself, but it is a Lilith. I don't think he's going to get too much. She is going to leap away. Next target is just as much HP. It's the Rom.
Wow.
TimmyG, they executed that dive really well. Like, you don't expect to see a Grok with the lowest ult charge in the game.
Yep. Very interesting as well. I've seen in the last couple of sets, we've had a bit of a slower set where, you know, teams will be playing a bit of chess, mental chess, trying to stop each other, but yeah, it seems like that 10 has changed.
Okay. Alright, bye Yag. Sorry, mate. Hope you had a good time, bud. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That's not what you normally expect to see. We do have the Drogal coming up from Bones. He's going around the corner. He's going to pop it. Ram has no dash.
Ready got ult. That's huge. Lex also too. They've got 2 executes here. I think that might... Yep, he lands. I think if Lex can get this 2, I think that should be a clean wipe of the fight. Honestly. Blues look in control. Their ults look a bit better in these situations like this. If Yag wants to execute, it will take him a while. The team can also jump on it. But yeah, they're burning Rom here even before he can get the ult. Not too much. Yag falls as well. It's not going to be enough, and it's going to be a quick 1-0 to Unfair.
Right, and it feels like Unfair is just walking at them, like holding the left mouse, like just walking at them and using their ult, their left clicks, and they're falling over. But like that's because of draft. Like you're able to get these characters with these great matchups. Like if Bones is on something stupid like a Leon, he's, you know, you can't do that. But he is on UC Drogue that he managed to counterpick. The Grok ult to stay alive, 67 HP. Grok ult first early again. Yag ult trying to get off, not quite gonna get it. She will be burned. She will be killed after she gets burned as well. Bones just trying to stay alive. They're trying to burn the Rom in time, who does eventually fall over. Another Drogue ult from Bones, this time just for the mobility. He's going to play it safe, get out. His team loses one. 4v2 on the objective. Eevee in Ice Block in trouble. Get around just for a little bit. Unfair. And start pushing. Now we haven't seen the Lilith ult come out yet. The Yag ult was instantly burned, so TimmyG kind of running out of tools to deal with his defense now.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them. Again, with these big tanks, the other team, Unfair, has definitely the picks that are not going to allow them to just sit where they want for very long. So as soon as they get in, they're going to have to pop out like literally instantly. They're going to have the plan to get this. But it doesn't seem like it's working for them. Pixel just gets the pick there on the Yag again. Again, it's very hard. If he's rolling, he's not got that DR up as if where he was standing, but he needs to get position. It's going to be a very difficult one for them. The 2 tanks going down yet again straight away, followed up by a bonus kill on Nullified here. It's very interesting. I don't know if they're going to be able to defend this one. 2 dive tanks are very difficult to get a defense with, because they can't really take positions as a typical tank would.
It's just the Yag, like she's doing her best, man, but it's tough for her.
Enough.
Someone else has to contest the objective. Rom eventually does get back, but again, it's just these DPS from Unfair in the backline. Koga marked, pushed by Pixel, who will take him out. Drogue ult, third Drogue ult in 4 minutes, man.
That's a big commit, but works out for them. They still have 3 ults. Lex is about 75%, 78. So yeah, it looks to me that Unfair are cruising to the victory here so far. It's going to be difficult here. Rawmote has somehow got to hit, but like I said right in the beginning of the draft, it's very difficult to hit anybody from that draft. Drogos will be in the air. Lex is pretty mobile. Grover can just vine out somewhere if he doesn't get caught. Grok can just press F and get out. I think the only target is Barrick, and it's not going to matter. Yeah, the dome can melt too, so it's looking very difficult here.
I think it's difficult, but it's the way they have to play. They've locked themselves into this aggressive draft.
Yep.
Not quite there on the Yag ult. Not quite the Haven build on the Yag that we saw earlier either. A bit of a switch up. Instantly Rom ulted, trying to burn down the barrack. The dome does get eaten. Eevee and Ice Block will still have Rock Ult to stabilize from Unfair. They're surrounding them inside this dark room here. Avaleo skirts through. The Yag ult does eventually come out. Does get broken. Lex ult inside the room. Invoco kills the Eevee. Yag just trying to roll out. They're just getting bullied inside this room. Unfair is everywhere and surrounding them, as that will have to be the reset coming out from TimmyG. Unfair fighting from the point the entire time. Only lose one, and they're already hearts.
Yep. Very difficult for them. Even TimmyG, the good thing about their draft is they do have retake options, but it just seems like the pressure in the air is just too much for them to actually establish themselves in positions. Even just to roll or run into the point, even though Unfair doesn't have much CC, they've only got the Grover to stop them. It's looking difficult for them to actually take positions. So, looks like a draft problem to me so far, but we'll see what happens now as they try to defend here on the 3-0.
I think it's a draft problem, but we still got a game to play. So we're gonna have to figure it out now. We can talk about game 2 when we get to game 2, but for now, we got the Eevee ult, we got the Koga ult. We're trying to hold this first choke. Yag trying to make something happen here. Will plant inside Sunroom, but just gets headshot 5 times and falls over. They do get a pick on Ava, who's been struggling a little bit, but the rest of his team instantly trades it out. Losing your supports, a little bit of a 3v2, maybe some potential for a spawn camp, but a 2v1 in the backline. Pixel does get caught out. The supports have to be really careful respawning. Bones is going to come back and try to peel. Does end up picking up the Eevee. The Drogal, but you're going into a Koga with 3 dashes, 1 dash. That's all 3 dashes. Bones cancels it, saves from the mobility. Supports pretty careful coming up. Spawn, the peel is there. They will keep their Grover alive. Leighton does live. And TimmyG Fan Club, the first choke has been broken. They're going to have to reset here, but they're at risk of staggering. They're also low.
Yeah, it's interesting for me to watch here. As I'm watching, it looks like everybody's just going in and like on their own, one at a time. Like even just there, Yag went in and Rom kind of delayed himself but went in. Yag's taken a position that's very different to the rest of his team. Koga running up through the middle, getting down to 1 HP, also drops as well. It doesn't look very cohesive from the red team.
No, I mean they're running in and they're like they're all going in at generally the same time. So sometimes it's working, right? Sometimes they're getting an opportunity, right? Like they're getting a kill maybe. But I mean you can't just trade 5 people for 1 and expect to win the video game. At some point you got to be on the same target there. But we are gonna get the Lilith ult to bust out a spawn. Lex ult does pick up the Yag. Unfair committing. They want this to be over. Lex getting pressured out. Every ult being popped from Unfair. Rom trying to run around and sustain. Won't be able to do it. Nullify the only person left who can maybe save this team. The headshots on the Lex, not enough, and Unfair. That's an unfair draft from them, honestly. That insane.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the clean sweep.
Back to the drawing board with you.
What I'd like to say about that one is I do respect the Rom and Yag first picks. What I think was the problem there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they had their picks and they knew what they wanted to do, but it seemed like afterwards they kind of lost the ability to control the draft there. Of course.
He just kind of sat there. They never went for him. They looked for him on the first mid. I'm sorry, on the second mid there, right? Instantly Rom ulted him. Yep. Didn't quite work out.